Malaysian 370, contact Ho Chi Minh 120.9. Good night.
Good night, Malaysian 370.
Breaking news tonight, a Malaysia Airlines flight with 239 people on board, including 4 Americans, has gone missing.
Scripture, the Bhagavad Gita, Vishnu is trying to persuade the prince that he should do his duty, and to impress him takes on his multi-armed form and says, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds."
Welcome, everybody, to the live stream. Tonight, it's going to be a little bit more somber as we begin because, as you guys know, political activist Charlie Kirk was assassinated yesterday. And honestly, it hit me pretty hard. Hit me harder than I thought. What I want to say is that what people probably wonder, like, why do you care so much about Charlie Kirk? Actually, I didn't even really follow him. I wasn't like a supporter or anything like that. But a lot of the podcasters that have platformed this community were connected to him. And also, I think the other thing that's really important is that the thing that upset me so much about what happened to Charlie Kirk was that it easily could have been me. Is that I've seen this shift in politics over the last 10 or more years. And I'm not really going to beat around the bush here, so hopefully I don't get banned from YouTube, but there has been a very clear left-wing extremism rise of domestic terrorism in this country, and it has mostly come from the transgender community. We can't lie about it. We can't sugarcoat it. That's what's been happening. And the problem I have is that people, from a narrative perspective, these people have been getting brainwashed by the media. They've been getting brainwashed by the media every single day into the false notion that right-wingers want to kill them and harm them and do violence to them, which has not come to fruition at all. And this notion is extremely dangerous, and it has led to Charlie Kirk's death. Because when you tell people that their lives are on the line, it leads them to do violent things. And that is why Charlie Kirk died. I also want to shoot down some of the bullshit that I'm seeing out there related to his death. People are saying, oh, Israel did this. Israel. If you are one of these people that is trying to make a weird Israel conspiracy out of this, you are doing your movement disjustice. Because when you do that, when you say, and people literally are telling me this, Israel is behind everything. Israel is behind everything. Literally, people are saying this. If that is your mindset, you are no better than the left. You have created a boogeyman in your head where everything that happens, you are finding some twisted, mentally ill way to make it about Israel. This doesn't mean that Israel is blameless. It just means if you are literally blaming everything on that, you've got issues. You've got issues, and you should not do that, because when you do that, no one's going to ever take you seriously ever again. Simple as that. And people say, Ashton, isn't this like you and your MH370 thing, which you're obsessed with? No, it's not. It's not like that. For example, there was a plane that like fell off flight radar yesterday related to this whole assassination attempt. And people are pinging me about it, going, hey, this could be another shit. That would be like me saying that plane got orbed. That would be like me saying, oh, that plane went off flight radar. It must have got orbed by some plasma orbs. That would be stupid. There's no evidence for that, right? That's what it would be like. So please, I'm telling you guys, please don't do that. Please don't do that. For the question, am I a Fed? No. And it's not a dense take. Honestly, you are a literal retard if you are blaming Israel for everything. There's no other way to put it. You're literally a retard. And you need to like actually go get your head checked. Okay? Also, who the hell cares, man? Like, why are you so obsessed with a tiny little plot of land in the Middle East? Who cares about that shit? I mean, Jesus. Anyway, I digress. I want to actually just, instead of getting into all that, I want to post this tribute to Charlie Kirk, which is actually a Tom McDonald song that I saw that I just thought was really nice. So I don't know if we're going to copyright strike. I don't even really care. So here we go. We're going to play this. Is it playing? Hold on. No, did someone say no sound? Hold on. Let me see. No, it should be sound, right? Hold on. I'm just going to start it. Okay, guys. So even though I wasn't like a big Charlie Kirk supporter, it's what he stood for. It stood for free speech. He was a guy that would go to college campuses and debate anyone, talk to them. He wanted to have discussions with people. He wanted to talk to people and discussions with people, and they killed him for it. So now, instead of getting the guy that wanted to talk, now you're going to get the Nick Fuenteses. Now you're going to get the extremists. And you don't want to know why? Because we're sick of it. We normal people are sick of the bullshit. We're totally sick of the woke shit. We're sick of the mental illness. We're sick of the people demanding that we respect their feelings. We don't give a shit about your feelings. Just let that seep in. And the same crap that radicalized these nut jobs to kill Charlie is the same stuff that I see people trying to do to me. In fact, there was a post. I'm not going to go ahead and destroy Deep Prasad any more than I already did today, but go ahead and check out the Twitter post about it. These people are literally making up multiple completely fabricated stories about me in order to drive hatred towards me, in order that somebody does something radical and harms me. That's what their intention is. They're trying to do that exact same thing to me. And what I want to say about that is, if you are one of those people, you guys know who you are out there. If you are one of those people trying to do that to me, I want you to take a very, very hard look at how people have reacted to those celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk. People are getting fired. People are getting death threats. People are having their lives destroyed for the way that they're reacting. That is your future. That is your future. That's exactly what I'm going to do to you guys. Doxing them. They're all being doxed across social media. Like, people are finding out about these people. And that's what you deserve. That's what you deserve. Because we are fed up with it. And once again, we just don't care how you feel anymore. Your feelings don't matter to us. What matters is the truth. So if anyone's upset at my political takes on social media, I don't care. I'm not here to entertain you. This isn't even my job. I could care less if you unfollow me. I could care less if you don't watch, if you don't support. It makes no difference to me. If I hurt your feelings and for that reason you decide you don't want to watch my content, well, you know what? That's your loss. I guess you don't get disclosure. Sorry, because spoiler alert, there isn't anybody else doing disclosure. Nobody else is doing what I'm doing. This is a unique situation. So, you know what? Too bad. And no, I'm not going to calm down. I'm not going to stick to the orb stuff, stick to the physics. No, I'm going to do whatever the hell I want all the time because there's no strings on me. Now, let's get to the content. First, why don't you look at Balloon Gate 2025. Now, I actually couldn't even believe this. What is it? Mon V. Ren. So just the other day, guys, what's that guy's name? Mon Ren? Shit. I don't know what this guy's name is. I didn't pull this up. So just the other day, we reviewed the video. I'll pull it up here. Actually, I don't even need to pull. I'll just pull this up. Here it is. we reviewed this plasma UFO video from Congressman Burleson. Pretty incredible video. In fact, I sent a message to Congressman Burleson saying, good job releasing this. This is probably the best UFO footage that has ever been revealed outside of the Tic Tac, Gimbal, and Go Fast videos. And the MH370 videos, of course. And it's very, very, very obviously plasma. How is it obviously plasma? Because we're looking at it. Let me make it bigger. We're looking at a literal amorphous blob get struck by a projectile and then break into 3 smaller pieces and chunks while it still is clearly floating freely, even after it gets hit. Clearly floating freely, right? Like, here we go. It gets hit right in the beginning, right here, right? And then if this was like something normal, it would just crash right into the water. But it just keeps going. All the pieces just keep going. And so I was joking, I think, on Tuesday by saying they're going to come up with some completely nonsense explanation for why this isn't a ball of plasma. And sure enough, Mick West, the same night on Tuesday, posted a video claiming that it's a balloon. A balloon? What are you talking? A balloon? Are you actually seriously making that claim that we're looking at a balloon here in FLIR, in infrared, and they literally, and I'm not kidding, this is actually what their arguments were. They were claiming that the balloon got struck by a projectile and broke into 3 smaller balloons. What? And then the other part is they're claiming that it's not moving or something. Like, these people are so stupid. I can't even wrap my brain around it. I haven't felt like this since they tried to claim that there was stock footage in the MH370 videos back in, I know the exact date, August 19th of 2023. When the Pyromania debunk came out, I thought that everyone was stupid who was trying to say that this stock effect matched the videos. It wasn't even close to the same thing. But I had people gaslighting going, it's obviously a pixel perfect match. And you're like, no, it's not. I can just see that it's not a pixel perfect match. I was like, it's not even the same color. That's the same feeling I had when people were trying to say that this is a balloon and that the object's not moving. What do you mean the object's not moving? The camera stops. You can see the object moving when the camera is not moving. What are we talking about here? How can you possibly claim that that object is not moving? The object is right above the water too. This is not an optical illusion. This isn't people. I swear, these people do not even know what parallax means. They literally don't know what parallax means. They just use words that like sound sciencey that they don't even understand. They're like, parallax. It's the drone is moving and making the illusion that the thing is. Are you retarded? And the answer is yes, they are actually just retarded. I mean, I don't know how else to explain it. So there is 0 chance that this is a balloon. Balloons don't do that. So people need to like not be allowed, not get gaslit. And what I realized from this saga is that peer pressure and gaslighting is so powerful. It's so powerful. You wouldn't believe the types of people that this level of just complete stupidity works on. It's like a magic wand. It works on people that should otherwise be intelligent people. And they buy into these retarded arguments that have no basis in reality whatsoever. So here you go. Here is Ryan Graves. Ryan Graves. Where is it? Here it is. Pull this down. Here we go. This is so crazy to me. I see this morning. He goes, I'm going to read it out. This is Ryan Graves, Air Force pilot. After further review, it's conceivable the video is of a prosaic target struck by a missile. Chunks broke off, stabilized in the airstream, and began a parabolic descent that is generally aligned with the camera angle, making the target aspect change nearly imperceptible as it descends. What? How retarded are you, Ryan Graves? Like this take right here is so brain dead that I actually have to assume he's an op at this point. Like literally he must be a CIA or op. There's no way in hell that's his real opinion. There's no fucking way. The debris got caught in the airstream and kept floating. What are you just making shit up right now? That's not how gravity works, bro. That's not how gravity works. And then because they can't rationalize anything, and for the record, Timothy, it is not, brother. It is not, brother. If any of you actually believe this is a balloon, just get out of the chat right now. You're not awake enough for this conversation. Again, it is not a balloon. You're literally retarded if you think this is a balloon. I don't care if you're a follower of mine. I don't care if you've been following for a while. It is 0% chance it's a balloon. It's not caught in the airstream. It's not any of this other gaslighting bullshit that people are trying to do. And you can't let these morons gaslight you. You cannot let these retards gaslight you guys. Because what they do is they peer pressure you and they all go, yeah, that's what it is. It's literally the Ash conformity experiment. Literally the Ash conformity experiment. Okay? I'm going to show you. This is exactly what they're doing. I'm going to pull it up. Here it is.
I want to give you a test of your visual acuity, your sensitivity to differences in line lengths. So I'm going to show you a standard. It's a standard.
See here, I have a number of cards, and on each card there are several lines. Your task is a very simple one. You're to look at the line on the left and determine which of the 3 lines on the right is equal to it in length. All right, we'll proceed in this order. You'll give your answer.
Only one of the people in the group is a real subject, the 5th person with the white t-shirt.
Okay, so Ash conformity experiment. This is literally what's happening, by the way, and this is how the debunkers work. They just work off of like psychological manipulation. Is that they all just go, yeah, it's a balloon. I agree it's a balloon. Don't you agree it's a balloon? And they go, yeah, I agree it's a balloon. And then random Joe Schmo comes in, like Ryan Graves, and they look at it and they get, now they're under peer pressure, right? Should I agree with the pack or should I go out and have my own opinion? And most humans just go with the pack. Literally, people will ignore what their eyes are telling them to just fit in and to conform with the group. And that's what the Ash conformity of experiment proved. This isn't hypothesis. It's a 100% proof that in groups, we act like idiots. We will literally deny objective reality to fit in with the group. And this is what debunkers do. And who's their cult leader? Their cult leader is Mick West. Whatever Mick West tells them, just like the Ash conformity experiment, they will deny whatever their eyes are seeing and they'll just go, yep, that makes sense to me. Mick West told me he's an expert. He's an expert. Experts can't be wrong. Here you go. Let's pull it up. So watch it happen.
Others are Confederates of the...
3.
But on the 3rd trial, something happens.
2.
2, guys.
2.
Chat, look at this.
2.
You ready? Look at this, chat.
3.
Where, which line is it? Which line matches, chat? Which line is the match right there? It's obviously 1, right? Like you can just see with your eyes, 1 is the matching line, right? But if they just all say 2, what happens to the last guy? What does the last guy say? If they just all lie and they all just say 2, what happens?
2.
Look at how uncomfortable he is.
2.
The subject denies the evidence of his own eyes and yields to group influence.
1.
Ash found subjects went along with the group on 37% of the critical trials. But he found through interviews that they went along with the group for different reasons.
1. They must be right. There are 4 of them and 1 of me. 1.
This subject's yielding is based on a distortion of his judgment. He genuinely believes that the group is correct.
1.
This is actually
One.
literally how COVID happened too. Yes.
1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2,
I know
It
they're
must be
wrong,
Craig.
but why should I make waves?
2.
In this case, the subject knows he is right, but goes along to avoid the discomfort of disagreeing with the group. Here, the distortion is at the level of his response.
2,
Listen to it. Listen to the
2,
response.
2.
Look at he's like 2. So anyway, I'm not going to show the rest of that video, but so Ash conformity experiment is essentially what we've got going on here. So this is like, I'm just looking at this like, what the hell, dude? And then we actually forced him into like a semi-retraction. Because I post here, I'm just LAMFAO. These are your UFOlogy here. Complete idiots who have no clue what they're talking about. Not even former military have any clue what they're talking about. That's Ryan Graves. He's former Air Force. He's looking at this and he thinks it's a balloon. There's a prosaic explanation that it's just a debris that's drifting in the airstream for like 10 seconds. It's just floating in the sky for at least 10 seconds. And then they also lie. They just lie. They'll be like, oh, the video edits. They'll be like, the video cuts off right after it gets hit. No, it doesn't. It doesn't cut off right after it gets hit. It stays, and you can see the thing still floating freely for like at least 5 more seconds. So it's just so weird. And so then we forced him into a retraction. Just to be clear, I'm not dismissing this video. The above is just my current best guess at a rational explanation. Curious to see what else we can learn from the video. This really proves that it's all about peer pressure for Ryan Graves, right? Like, it's peer pressure. He got peer pressured into making a stupid statement about it being prosaic, and then he gets peer pressured into retracting his statement because if you look through the comments, people are like, what are you talking about, dude? This theory is flawed. The objects in the video maintain altitude. You can see their reflection. Even if you can't see the reflection, you can still tell they're maintaining their altitude. It shouldn't even require that. It shouldn't require some detailed analysis, forensic analysis. You can just see with your eyes that it's still floating freely. So crazy to me. So, but here's another just super weird. So I pressed Ryan Graves on the MH370 videos, and he still won't respond. He still won't respond to the MH370 videos, which, I mean, it's been 2 years. What is Ryan Graves scared of making a comment on the MH370 videos? If you don't think they're real, just say you don't think they're real. If you know it's military surveillance, then why aren't you saying so? It's got to be one or the other, right? Like, either you don't recognize the surveillance and you don't know, just say you don't know, or say you think it's fake, whatever. It's Gorgon Stare, and the guy was in the Air Force. So I feel like he's good chance he knows about Gorgon Stare, but he won't say anything. And then I see this insane post. Somebody posted this. This is Booster Chris. He's threatening Ryan Graves. Threatening Ryan Graves right here. By the way, this guy right here, Aerospace Chris, is an admitted Pentagon DoD intelligence analyst. He's an admitted Pentagon DoD intelligence analyst. I think it was like vetted or something, where he just for no reason offered up this information, telling us that he's a literal spook. And here he is saying, I'm going to quote him, "You should be careful talking about potentially classified videos or any details thereof. That's a potential unauthorized disclosure." And he tags Ryan Graves. Tags Ryan Graves. That's a literal threat to this guy. This guy is so mentally unwell. It's just crazy that someone would make a post like this. Especially somebody that's a literal admitted DoD intelligence spook. To threaten an Air Force officer to try to shut him up, to not talk about leaked videos, is crazy. This guy needs to be locked up in the loony bin. 100%. He needs to be locked up in the loony bin with a lot of these other nut jobs, but especially this guy. And the other thing about this guy that's super scary is that this guy has been on a 24/7 warpath against me for 2 years straight in the middle of the workday every single day. He should be working, and instead he's on Twitter making up lies about me, attacking me, saying that I need to go to jail for leaking, trying to buy classified information, a bunch of fake shit that he made up. How does this guy still have a job? This guy should be fired from his intelligence job immediately and never allowed to have a security clearance ever again. I don't know. This is just such a fucked in the head, sick thing to say. Unbelievable. And so this is the other point that I made up. Why is this DOD intelligence as threatening Ryan Graves? And why won't Ryan Graves comment on the videos? And then why is this guy attacking me? Well, it's all pretty clear, right? The videos are real leaked footage. Booster Chris knows that. Booster Chris has known the videos are real from the very beginning because he's a literal intelligence asset. Of course he knows about Gorgon Stare. Of course he knows about FLIR footage. The guy is literally trying to cover up the biggest leaks in history. Average Chris, every bad thing that it comes to him in the future, he 100% deserves it. Probably more than most people on this planet, honestly. More than most people on this planet. Yeah. I mean, he has to know it, right, chat? Exactly. Okay. So I wanted to bring this up because, man, what a crazy situation. So shout out, though, to the people that I did see some other follow-up posts today where more than like, this is why it's important that we are social media influencers, because if we're not pushing back on these absolutely ridiculous claims, like it's a balloon, look at that plasma flying around, it gets hit by a projectile, splits into multiple plasma pieces, and people are going, oh, it's a balloon. If we don't push back on these ridiculous narratives, then people fall for the Ash conformity. Do you want to know how you break down the Ash conformity experiment? Does anybody know? Does anybody know what the cure is for the Ash conformity experiment? The cure is telling the truth. If one person comes in and says, nope, it's line number one. If one person goes against the herd, then the other people feel safe in following. Isn't that crazy? That's all it takes to shut down the Ash conformity experiment. Is one person has to be brave to tell the truth and have integrity. And then it whole illusion falls apart. And so now, once we start posting going, you're insane, there's no way this is a balloon. Next thing you know, we got Think Tank. Shout out to Think Tank. I haven't talked to that guy in a long time. He's not a supporter of mine. He's even posting, I agree with you, right? Because now they feel bold enough to come out and say, you know what? I agree. There's no way that's a balloon. Doesn't make any sense. That's why being an influencer has way more power than what people really think it does. People just think, oh, you're just a social media influencer. No, you can actually change narratives, change perceptions of events. Whew. Okay, one more thing I want to say about this video. Let's pull this up again. A lot of people are saying, well, what about like it breaks up into 3 here? And they say, oh, is this connected to the MH370 videos? So this is another one of those situations where we can't hit on 19, right? Not everything is MH370 video orbs. I don't think this is the same kind of orb as we see in the MH370 videos. It could be, but I don't think it is. Now, what I'll say about this is I believe it's just coincidental that it breaks up into 3 extra pieces. It doesn't have anything to do with Ashton 4 orbs. It's just coincidental, but it's definitely plasma. And how do we know that? Because if it wasn't plasma, it wouldn't break into 3 like easy chunks like that. The reason why it breaks into chunks like that is because the plasma is trying to attach itself together. Kind of like a drop of water. Like a drop of water has, what do you call it on the edges? Man, I'm struggling right now. When it kind of groups up together. That's what's happening with the plasma here. Is the plasma is producing its own electromagnetic field. And so even if a small bit of the plasma breaks off, it kind of clusters together. Kind of like a smoke ring. Like a smoke ring does. So I think it's just coincidental that's happening. Oh, surface tension. Thank you. Surface tension. That's what we're looking for. It's like surface tension, right? So surface tension, that's why it groups together. Now, what I will say is what we've learned is that even if a bit of the plasma falls off the main body, it shouldn't be a problem at all because the plasma is potentially being produced from the air itself. So the object inside of the orb, and it can be pretty small object inside of the orb, it's producing the plasma around it. So even a bit of plasma falls off, that's okay. We've still got enough plasma where we can reform our orb, where our orb can fly freely still, which is why I think that orb still flies freely, even though some of the plasma gets knocked off. And then that plasma that gets knocked off, I presume, would slowly fall to the surface and then dissipate or something like that. The other side of it is this. I do think it's possible that one ball of plasma could break into multiple balls and then become their own self-coherent balls of plasma. That does seem theoretically possible, but it seems quite a bit more advanced than where we're at with plasma drones or where we were at in 2014. But in the future, why not? Right? You could have one big ball and then break it into 3 smaller balls of plasma and then have each one be a self-consistent ball of plasma that floats around. So that's my answer and viewpoint for all the people out there wondering, is there significance to the 3 blah, blah, blah balls? And yes, not just like ball lightning, literally ball lightning. Ball lightning is exotic vacuum objects, is plasmoids, is field reverse configuration. They're all essentially the same thing. They're all a self-stabilizing, self-regulating, self-organizing ball of plasma. And they're using aneutronic, or maybe just neutronic, fusion propulsion. Fusion propulsion. Because that plasmoid has jets, like exhaust jets, axial jets, they call them. Axial jets, like the planet has axis on it. Axial jets. And those jets can be used as propulsion. Okay, and since we have some extra time, I'll go ahead and play the famous clip. This is for Congressman Burleson. If you're out there, I mean, he's probably not, but just in case he is, here you go. Lockheed Martin compact fusion reactor. Listen carefully.
Fusion is a much safer option. A next generation of airplanes that doesn't rely on fuel and can just stay aloft, unlimited range, unlimited endurance. That's what nuclear fusion can do for an airplane. We put it in a magnetic bottle that can contain the high temperatures. You need hundreds of millions of degrees. We can release in a controlled fashion that energy. We think we have a very robust strategy going forward that has potential for success. What this concept does is it's a high beta concept, which means we use a high fraction of the magnetic field pressure. We use all of its potential. And that means we can make our devices 10 times smaller. So instead of something the size of a building, we have something the size of a large truck.
My beta, baby.
The small is the reason we can do this quickly. If something's small, you can build up momentum, you can develop it fast. It doesn't take 5 years to design it, it takes 3 months. We can design it, build it, test it in under a year. We can do several of these cycles, and we think we can get to a prototype in 5 years. Every time you do plasma physics, you learn something new. And that's why this is a high-risk, high-payoff endeavor. That's what we're doing here, is testing that concept out to see if it really holds the promise that it appears to. And as a defense company, our increasing mission is to enhance global security, and this is how we do that in the energy realm. Gas turbines are a huge improvement over other technologies in terms of climate change, but they're only a 50% improvement. We'd take it all the way. So no emissions, safe operation, proliferation free. That means we can ship it to the whole world with a good conscience. Now, the old promise of atoms for peace was a noble one, but ultimately flawed because the technology wasn't right for it. We can achieve that grand vision and bring clean power to the world. The true atomic age can start.
You know what's crazy about this video? This video is over 10 years old. This video is over 10 years old. This seems like something you would see like right now in 2025. This is over 10 years. He was talking about this in 2014.
10 years, we have great military vehicles. 20 years, we have clean power for the world. This isn't online by 2100. This is online by the time I can't even retire after we finish this. I still have to find another job after this is done.
This is my favorite video ever. This is literally my favorite video ever. It's like Lockheed Martin must hate that this video exists on the internet. Like, he's literally just saying all of it. He's like, we're going to have military advanced drones in 10 years. And in 20 years, we're going to have clean energy for the world. Well, that was 10 years ago. So where's that? Where are those drones? Where's that clean energy coming from? Oh, well, it went dark, chat. Chat, turns out 2018, the whole project just goes dark. Nothing more. Nothing to see here, chat. Nothing to see. Actually insane that video is just out there. Unlimited range, no fuel tanks, magnetic bottle, a magnetic bottle that contains the plasma, high beta. The funny part is once you learn about fusion, you know exactly what he's talking about. He's talking about field reverse configuration because field reverse configuration produces high beta values. And that's the exact same thing that NASA and the founder of helium fusion were working on. They were working on field reverse configuration plasmoid propulsion. And in fact, it wasn't even just them. It was also Edward Teller of the Manhattan Project, the father of the H-bomb. He was also working on it in the 90s. So what I messaged Congressman Burleson after I said, good job leaking that video. And I was like, dude, it's plasma propulsion, dude. It's just aneutronic plasma fusion propulsion. It's plasma. That's what they got going on. So, I mean, this stuff is going to come out. It's going to come out because we are just exposing it. And I'm not going to say, he actually responded. I'm not going to say what he responded. I really respect Congressman Burleson just because we actually have a weird personal connection. But we are so far ahead of the public now. Like we are actually like this MH370X, people watching this live stream, you're literally 5 to 10 years ahead of the public in terms of like public disclosure. Like this stuff is starting to come out. We're hearing Lockheed Martin saying they've got magical technologies and stuff like that. Their CEO was quoted saying that recently. And if you know about plasma, if you know about field reverse configuration and this fusion stuff, you are just so far ahead because I'll tell you, Congress has no idea. They've got no idea that this is what it is. None at all. That's why when they're looking at that video, that's probably why people are thinking it's a balloon because they don't have any basis to understand that that's just plasma and that plasma can be used for propulsion. They just don't understand that. And I get it because people don't think fusion is real. They think fusion is something that like, yeah, we could just never really do it, man. It's just like too complicated, So people just have to come up with some other explanation. Okay. And yeah, I want to go back to this just one more time, and then we'll do a couple of these super chats. I wasn't a Charlie Kirk daily or even a regular follower at all, but this hurts so much because of what he was. A true American and truly somebody fighting for the best lives they think for the nation. Absolutely. I mean, especially somebody that's willing to go out there on campuses and just talk to people. I mean, I think that's probably why it hurts so much. Like it hurts so much that he was, taken out. Like, I don't know. So anyway, rest in peace, Charlie. He's up there with God right now. And I think the only thing that we can really do is we can try to let his spirit live on in all of us. Like, even if you don't agree with his politics, like you can agree with his approach. He was never harming people or fighting people. He was never, I don't think he ever really got loud with people. He was always a really rational guy. He just stuck by his convictions and his belief. And people hated that. And I think what we have to get away from is this idea that just because you can't agree with somebody that like you have to like fight them or like harm them or whatever. Like that's the attitude that I see from the people that wanted to harm him. Is like I've watched clips of him. He's super intelligent. He would annihilate these people in debates, right? These kids in debates. And, it's kind of like shooting dolphins in a fish tank or something. But at the same time, like you realize when they can't win with words, when they can't win in a battle of ideas, that's when they come after you personally. That's when they try to hurt you. That's when they try to harm you. And that's the same thing that's happened with MH370 as well. It's like nobody can debate me, right? Like none of the debunkers can debate me. Mick West dodged 5 debates. Literally, Mick West, the guy talking about the balloon, he dodged 5 debates with me. 5. And the reason why he dodged those debates is because he knew he couldn't win. He knew he couldn't win. He knew he lost before the debate even started. And that's true of the rest of the debunkers because they know all their arguments have been torn to shreds. They know there's no way that their arguments would ever hold up in a contest of ideas in an open marketplace. And so instead, what they do is they try to demonize you. They try to deplatform you. And if those things don't work, then they try to hurt you. And we're now on the stage where they're trying to hurt me, right? That's the stage that we're at. So the last thing I want to say about that is, if anything does happen to me, I have no regrets whatsoever. I knew what this would probably lead to in the end for me. I knew it probably is not going to have a happy ending. But also, I want to be clear about what my final wishes are, just in case that does happen. I do not want people to forgive the people that did it. I am not a hero. I am not somebody that you should necessarily look up to. I'm not even necessarily a good person. I've got a lot of, stuff that I'll probably have to answer for when I get up there and talk to the big guy. I want fire and brimstone for everybody responsible, everybody connected to whoever would take me out. I want them to have their skulls crushed in a hydraulic press. Send them to Gitmo. I don't want people to be nice to them. The reason why is that being nice doesn't get anything done. Being nice doesn't drive change. What drives change is consequences. Consequences that are public, that are brutal, that scare people. That's what drives change. So if any of that happens to me, I want you to come down on the people, destroy them, destroy every aspect, make them regret what they did in a way that shocks and horrifies the public. That's what I want. So just in case anything happens, there's my final wishes on that front. Okay, guys, it's going to be a relatively short stream. The last thing we're going to look at, possibly the biggest thing here, is life. Guys, we've kind of lost track of this major story. They announced life on Mars. NASA came out, randomly just decides, hey guys, there's life on Mars. What? Oh, we just going to drop that on us out of nowhere? Nobody's even talking about it right now. There's life on Mars, and we're just, okay, cool. We're just going to ignore that that's the case. Okay, let me do some of these donuts first. Catman, attention is a limited resource. Got to get it right. Yes, thank you very much, Catman. LM, nope. Thank you for doing what you do. Great content. Please keep sharing this stuff. I'm going to. I'm going to keep sharing this stuff. You guys probably also saw me with my black pill post earlier about how we don't deserve free energy. Yeah, don't get too upset about that. We've never deserved free energy, probably. Doesn't mean I'm going to stop doing what I'm doing. I'm just saying, we have to be realistic about what's going on. Too many people out there have this Disney mindset of, whoa, we have to stick to our principles. Otherwise, we're going to lose our democracies. Bro, you don't have democracy. You don't have freedom. If you're somebody out there that thinks, yes, we've got freedom right now, we're living this democracy and my vote matters. No, it doesn't. We have electronic voting. You think your vote matters? No. You think that we have an open and free society? No, we don't. We've never had one of those. They say we have to take the higher, we have to do whatever. Otherwise, they're going to win. Otherwise, the bad guys win. The bad guys already won. Do you guys not see that? The bad guys already won decades ago. We're right now fighting to get our freedom back. They took free energy from us. They're hiding teleportation from us. They're covertly zapping Boeing 777s out of the sky and lying about it. And you're telling me that we have democracy, that we have freedom? We don't have any freedom. It's all an illusion. It's all just a big illusion. So, we got to be realistic about it. And just because we're realistic about it and doesn't necessarily mean we're not going to do anything about it. But if we don't understand the problem, then we can't have any hope of trying to fix it. Gabe Grayson, thank you very much, Gabe. I've recognized you in the chat. Also, I think I saw, who is it? Was it TJ? I forget what that guy's name. Oh, crap. I forget him earlier. But anyway, thanks to all the people who've been following and supporting for a long time. War Ranch has always been out there for a while. Booyah. Lockheed be lying, chat. Lockheed be lying. Thank you very much, War Ranch. You're awesome. And Grush Deva, I'm not sure if I'm saying your name correctly. Earth grows exponentially. Matter from energy. I don't know about all that, but yes, sure. Matter and energy, sure, are interchangeable. Thank you very much for that donation. Zach Dagger, the United States will protect you. We're going to keep our fingers crossed. We're going to keep our fingers crossed that they're going to protect me, but I don't know. You never really know. And then Pippi, whoa, huge donation. Thank you, Pippi. Left parties will always lose because they defend fantasies. This is true. And I don't think it's necessarily a left thing. It's not a racial thing, but in general, definitely the people that are defending fantasies will always lose. Same thing is true in woke disclosure, right? These people have this fantasy, and I saw this too, is that we just have to tell people the NHI are here. We have to tell people the non-human intelligence are here, and then everybody will wake up and we'll become peaceful and we'll be able to handle this free energy technology. That has got to be one of the most delusional, unrealistic viewpoints I've ever heard. People do not care about non-human intelligence. It's definitely not going to change anyone's personality. I mean, the amount of people that are going to be changed by the idea of non-human intelligence is probably less than 1%. Probably less than 1%. Most people are either just going to dismiss it outright, or they'll just accept it and be like, yeah, sure, I thought aliens were already real, right? It's really the people that have had experiences. They call themselves the experiencers. Those are the people that are under this delusion that, like, if everybody else just has an experience, they'll become as weird as I am about loving aliens and blah, blah, blah. It's just not true. It's just not how it's going to work out. Thank you, Timothy. And sorry, I didn't mean to take you down there, Timothy. That wasn't, Timothy was just misspeaking. Apparently I misinterpreted what he said. So thank you very much, Timothy. I appreciate you, brother. I didn't mean to come at you there. Michael Meredith, thank you very much for that super sticker. Appreciate it. And then Adam Dev, have you seen the movie Leave the World Behind? Actually, I have. It was pretty bad, honestly. It was actually produced by Obama. The beginning was cool, where like this ship crashes into like the beach. But then after that, like the only thing that was interesting was like this weird sonic attack where like they used some sort of like sonic sound thing. I was watching this movie though, and here it is, Leave the World Behind. If you want to check it out, I think it's on Netflix or something. You can check it out. It was a little weird just because it's like Obama talking about like what an end of the world or like nuclear emergency scenario would look like in today's day and age. And so I was definitely trying to like read between the lines in terms of like, you know, what is there anything he's trying to get out to us? But ultimately, I just thought the movie was just pretty lackluster. It just wasn't that entertaining for me. Okay, let's do some of the other donations. Matt from the Pilled Chat says, "Rip Charlie Kirk. Ashton, how can we live in such a brainwashed state? I love Minnesota because of the seasons, but it's scary sometimes." Yeah, and you know the other thing is that one of the coffee shops, actually basically every coffee shop you go to, mostly has like trans people and stuff like that, especially in Minnesota. And I have nothing against these people. In fact, a lot of time I just think like, man, isn't it just kind of sad that these people have been sucked into this idea that like this is the only way that they can be like an individual, that they can be unique? You know, like feels like there should be a lot of other things that you could latch onto that is not like switching your gender to be unique. You know, it's like in the 90s, it was the goth kids. You know, in school, we had all the goth kids. They would all dress up in all black because they want to be unique and different and edgy, right? They want to have their own style. And now it feels like that's what it is. It's just like a fad, right? It's a fad where you're doing it because you want to virtue signal about how inclusive you are or how progressive you are or how different and unique you are, you know? So anyway, that's my view about it, guys. Take it or leave it. You don't have to agree with me. Okay. Oh, there's more super chats here. And then Texas Grown says, "Ever looked into Charles Hall? He just did an interview, discussed wormholes as false, said it's about force fields." Maybe. Wormholes are definitely real, but you know, there's a lot of interpretation. Like, what's your conceptual view of the wormhole? Like, a wormhole is not Deep Space Nine with your wormhole opening up, where it's like, oh, now I'm going to go fly through this tunnel, right? Although, I mean, technically it is kind of that, but that's not what it would look like. So I more would say, like, when people talk about the science of physics, I want to understand, what's your conceptual view of it? As long as your conceptual view is like you're zipping out through this dimension temporarily and then coming back into this dimension, then I think you've understood the concept correctly. Like, that's what's happening, macroscopic quantum tunneling. So it really depends on exactly how they word it in these situations, Texas. Thank you. And then Grush Deva, I don't know. Paleomagnetic dating on the ocean floor and geological record both prove growing Earth. Well, yeah, I mean, the Earth may be growing, but it's going to be really slowly. but maybe that's what you mean. So yeah, plants grow like trees, feeding on plasma and vacuum flux. Thank you for that interesting thought. I appreciate that. Okay, so here we go. Life on Mars, chat. Life on Mars. Here we go. I've got a clip queued up. This is NASA, so we're going to hear directly from NASA here. This is like their big announcement yesterday, or was it yesterday or 2 days ago? I don't even remember. What day was this? This is yesterday. Oh, because this happened right before the shooting. That's what happened. Okay. Okay, here we go.
The scientific community that will, in essence, pressure test what we think we've found. So we're talking about Perseverance. This was a mission sent to Mars under President Trump's first presidency. And a year ago, we found a sample, and it was, again, we're exploring in places where there were rivers and where there were lakes. And much as on Earth, we think that that's where we'd see signs of ancient life on Mars. And so a year ago, we thought we found what we believe to be signs of microbial life on the Mars surface. And so we put it out to...
Wait. What did he just say? A year ago? A year ago, we found signs of microbial life? And you're just announcing it now? They found microbial life a year ago. And they're like, yeah, we were going to tell you, but we just slipped our mind. Just didn't feel like it. Chat, I'm already super sus of NASA because I know they were lying about, they used to put red filters on the Mars photos. They were putting red filters on the Mars photos to make it look more foreign. Because if you take the red filters off, it looks really similar to Earth. Like, it's almost like blue skies, like pale-ish blue skies. And so now they're going, and this is the other thing is that I've been saying, now I've only been a social media influencer for 2 years, but you can just take my word for it, I guess. I've been saying for over 10 years that there's life on Mars. Like, definitely there's life. And I'm not talking little green men. I'm talking microbial life, bacteria. I'm talking bacteria. And we're going to show the evidence here in a minute. But I've been saying it. Why? Because one of the first things we found was seasonal methane on Mars. And it can't be from geological things because if there were rocks where methane was being released, it would get used up. It would get used up over the millions and billions of years, right? That's just how geology works. The chances that like, oh, there just happens to be seasonal methane on Mars. Methane is a biological byproduct, right? When you fart, methane. So if there's seasonal methane, so during some season, all of a sudden there's a significantly higher parts per million of methane, it's a strong indicator that there's biological growth happening. And when I saw that, I was like, wait a minute. Isn't that like proof there's life on Mars? How are people ignoring that? And just like the Ash conformity experiment, they go, no, it's like rocks or something. We just don't understand it. It's like a geological process we just don't understand. What do you mean? What? Why isn't it just life? Isn't that the simplest explanation? That it's just life? And so then the follow-up was, why weren't they searching for life on Mars? We sent a rover up there, and it wasn't searching for life on Mars. And you might say, Ashton, well, of course, why would we have it search for Mars? We don't have any indications that there's life on Mars. Yes, we do. The Viking rover in 1976. The Viking rover in 1976 found organics on Mars. And it was, again, just dismissed because they thought, oh, it's just an accident. It must have been contaminated or something. So we already had a speculative idea that there was life on Mars. Then we find seasonal methane on Mars. And then we also find water on Mars. So we have seasonal methane, we've got water on Mars, and we're sitting here still wondering, we're not even searching for life. And now we're being told by NASA that they found microbial life a year ago and just didn't want to tell us. They were making announcements over finding like little droplets of water and shit like that, which didn't even seem significant. but now they wouldn't tell us about life on Mars. So for me, the conspiracy is not that we didn't go to Mars or that the rovers in Canada or whatever BS people are saying. The conspiracy is we know there's life on Mars and we've been hiding it for whatever reasons, presumably because if there's life on Mars, even just bacterial life, even microbial life on Mars, that means that life is going to be everywhere in the universe. Like, what are the odds that the very first planet we go to, has life on it? We go pick a dead planet, Mars, a completely dead planet, and there's life on it. The reason is life is everywhere, and that shouldn't surprise us. Life is everywhere on Earth. Life even exists in extreme conditions like volcanoes and in glaciers. So no matter the temperatures, we find life everywhere. We even find life in like completely acid environments that normal biological life shouldn't be able to survive in. So to me, I don't know how, people hadn't already come to this conclusion that there's probably life on Mars. And it's so big, once again, because if there's life on Mars, we're going to find life everywhere. And I'm not talking to ETs. I'm just mean life in general, right? Life. And it changes the Drake equation. Yes. The Drake equation basically is total bullshit. It always was bullshit. If you were somebody who believed the Drake equation, you got to stop trusting the experts so much. They're like, the experts basically just made up some fake numbers and they just decided the Drake equation equals 1. Where it's like, we might be the only planet with life on it. Why? We just said so. We just made up a bunch of numbers and just decided. That's literally what they did. So it turns out, if there's life on Mars, the Drake equation, you can just throw it out. It was garbage. Always was, probably. Okay, let's listen back to the clip again. Wait. Oh, there.
To our scientific friends to pressure test it, to analyze it, and go, did we get this right? Do we think this is signs of ancient life on Mars? And after a year of review, they've come back and they said, listen, we can't find another explanation. So this very well could be the clearest sign of life that we've ever found on Mars.
Wow. We can't come up with any other explanation. I mean, they didn't really show the data. Maybe the data is out there. I'm not going to look at the data right now. We might do a different stream where we look at the data. But so that's wild to me, is that there's no other. They must be like really, really compelling. Why? Because look at what people are doing with the plasma video. People are trying to say the plasma video is a balloon. So if there was any other explanation, the scientists would be going, we don't know. It could be anything. It could be some rocks making the biological signatures, right? It doesn't surprise me at all that we found microbiological life on Mars. Not at all. So let's go ahead and take a look. So I downloaded the scientific paper. This scientific paper is another paper that I have been promoting the hell out of. And I get a lot of flack for promoting a lot of this stuff. Because people go, no, they come up with a million different explanations for it, blah, blah, blah. But once again, what do we learn about the Ash conformity experiment? Don't be afraid to state your own opinions. The way you break down the brainwashing is by having one person come out and say, nope, you're all wrong, right? That's how you break it down. So there was a paper called, what's this called? Fungi on Mars, Evidence of Growth and Behavior from Sequential Images, from May of 2021. May of 2021, scientific paper. Now, what did this scientific paper do? All they did was take the photos of Mars Curiosity rover and from the orbiter, and they just looked at the photos. That's it. All they did was look at NASA's photos and go, here's day 15, here's day 16, and let's see if there's different growth on it. That's all they did. And the reason why I love it, it's so simple. How do you argue with that? If I look at two photos and I see X over here, and then I see it change over here, there's not a lot of ways that can happen. You might say, oh, maybe it's like erosion, or maybe there are geological processes. There's no atmosphere on Mars. There's no atmosphere on Mars. So if you are trying to give weather or geological explanations for things, a lot of the stuff gets ruled out. But even so, even if you have storms and things like that, okay, well, let's look at what the evidence shows and see if it's consistent with any of that. So let's just look at photos. Let's look at some of the photos. Here we go. Because the best thing is, again, I think we just look for ourselves. Let's just look for ourselves at this stuff. So here's the paper right here. Oh, and by the way, just like you could imagine, the people that wrote this paper got absolutely attacked by everyone. Like the moment you put something out there that challenges the orthodoxy, you just get swarmed by people. I don't even remember what bullshit people were saying about it. It's misinformation. It's disinformation. Don't look at it. Don't look. Don't look up, chat. Don't look up. That's basically what people are saying. Don't look up, because when you look at these photos, it's ridiculously compelling. Ridiculously compelling. Here we go. Okay. I'm not even going to do the intros and all this stuff, but right off the bat, okay, this is probably one of the least compelling ones, but what are we looking at here? We're looking at these shadows, Mars orbital photos, early spring, mid-spring, late spring. So we're looking at a whole season here. And we can see there's clearly something happening, right? We see these shadows here that form. What are these shadows? Well, what they're speculating, these shadows are either bacteria or they're fungus. And when you look at that, you go, well, actually, yeah, it does look like growth. It looks like a petri dish. Have you guys ever looked at a petri dish before? This looks like a petri dish. You see these almost like clouds of bacterial or something like that form on the surface. They're not going to be trees. And then here you go. Here's some more photos. This says waxing from gray in the winter to black during the spring, and then waning and disappearing in the autumn and winter. So you can see this form, and you can see it just completely disappear in the different seasons. So not only do we have seasonal methane on Mars, but you can also see these weird shadows form on the surface of the planet. Look at that. I mean, to me, this is ridiculously compelling. I don't know how people are ignoring this. Yeah, it looks like fungus, and that's what they say. Here's some more photos. I mean, look at that. What are we trying? How do the people that say this isn't anything, how do they argue this? I don't get it. What are they arguing that this is? Because once again, this is just literally photos from the orbiter and from the rover. That's it. That's all it is. Fine. Thank you. Finally, someone with a logical answer. It's just balloons. It's more balloons. Obviously, it's just balloons. It's Chinese lanterns, chat. Chinese lanterns. These are some of my favorite too, because some of the stuff that we started to find when we looked at the seasons, different seasons, and some of these rock formations, we started seeing these shadows form. We started seeing shadows forming on the rock formations, on the hills, actually, and they couldn't explain it. I think they tried to explain it by saying it was like ice or something like that. I think they tried to say it was like ice rolling down the hill. I think is what their explanation was. There's better photos here later. This is the one. This is the one that's the thumbnail. Look at this. I mean, that's growth, chat. That's not ice. This isn't ice rolling down a hill. At least not in my opinion. When I look at this looks alive. Like, look at this. You can tell, look how much it changes from season to season. So it says, and this is only 20 days difference. This is only 2 weeks of difference, okay? So top left is day 1. This is day 1 on the top left right here. The middle one is day 22, 21 days later. Look at the growth difference of this. And then the last one is only 12 days after that, 34 days in. Look at the difference in the shadows. I mean, that just looks straight up alive to me. Okay. And by the way, guys, you are not going to get, I don't know, is anybody even talking about life on Mars right now? I don't know how nobody's talking about it. You're probably not going to get a science review like this on any other live stream. Yeah, and people going, WTF in the chat? Exactly. What the hell? How is this being ignored? This is 2021. And again, here's some more photos. These aren't the best, but you can still see there's a little bit of growth change, especially in this area that I've got with my cursor on it in the middle here. There's a little bit of growth change in these patterns. So you can see these patterns are like kind of spreading and then rescinding. Now this one right here, look at this. Look at this one. Look at that. How does that get explained? There's like a little dead zone where there's nothing going on right here. Nothing going on the left. And now it's got all kinds of little dots in it. What are all these little dots all of a sudden that came out of nowhere? So I remember what people were trying to say about this. People were trying to argue that these are rocks. They tried to argue these are rocks and that the wind blew the rocks. Okay? That's what they were trying to argue for this photo here in terms of like, where did these extra things come from that weren't there in the previous photo? How many days apart are these? They are 7 days apart. This is only 7 days apart right here. And again, no atmosphere on Mars. Only 7 days apart. And now there's all this weird additional growth, let's call it. So look at this one. This is only 3 days apart. 3 days apart. Sol 1145, Sol 1148. Now you can see the patterns, right? You can see where the rocks, let's just call them rocks for right now. You can see how the rocks line up. You can see the rocks line up down here as well. So you can see that these are not rocks that got blown around. How do we know that? Because they're in the same location. Most of these rocks are in the same location in both photos, except for now there's new ones. There's a new one here in the middle. This one up here got bigger. Look how much bigger this one right here is. This one that I'm clicking on right here. Look how much bigger it is over here. This looks like mushrooms to me, chat. How is this not a mushroom? What kind of rocks are spherical? What are these spherical rocks? All these rocks are circles. No, these are fungi. I mean, this looks like fungi from above to me, right? Extremophiles, as somebody just said. Who's just said extremophiles? Great word. Extremophiles. So this one right here is one of the best, most compelling comparisons, in my opinion. Exact same location, only 3 days apart. And you can clearly see either growth or some magical rocks just floated in and fell into perfect alignment or something. And some of the rocks change shape and size too. Amazing. I didn't know rocks could change shape and size like that, but you learn something new every day. You learn something new every day, chat. Okay. Let's see what else we've got. Oh, and then they're arguing that you can see like little stems potentially here. This isn't as compelling to me. Some of the stuff's not quite as compelling. But again, looking at this, like, someone's trying to say these are rocks. That does not look like rocks to me. I've never seen any rocks that are like weirdly spherical like this. Like all of them are spherical. It looks like mushrooms growing around, right? Isn't that what that looks like to you? That's what it looks like to me for sure. People definitely need to be paying attention to this paper. They need to come back. In fact, I'm going to probably post this paper later tonight. Okay. And then here's some examples of a puffball. This is on Earth puffball, and this is where they're arguing that you can see the stalks right down here. They're like, look at these things that are like coming out of the rocks. These are like little stems or from little puffballs, right? Let's see what else. So this says here, Martian specimens 3 to 8 millimeters in size. So these are very small. 3 to 8 millimeters. So these are little tiny little things as well. Okay, and then here's some more examples on why they believe they're puffballs. On the left here, these are Earth puffballs right here, and then these are Mars. I mean, you know what, chat? Looks like a perfect match to me. Perfectly identified stock photo, chat. Perfectly matching. It perfectly matches. It's a pixel perfect match, chat. At least according to the standard of debunkers, that's a perfect match, apparently. I mean, it looks pretty close. I gotta be honest. That looks pretty close to me. So there's more photos of that. Is this also from Mars? Yeah, this one's, look at this. That's from Mars too. We're supposed to believe all of these are rocks. Again, I'm just showing you guys the photos in this paper right here. And then I think this is supposed to be bacteria growth here. Yeah, white powder, chunky spore-like material. And then they also look at the rover itself. Oh, and then this, look at this. This is great. These are all 1 day apart. These are 1 day apart. 1 day. This is just 1 day. Look at this part right here. This part on the photo on the left where you see this big yellow spot in the middle of this dark line. Look at how much it changes just in 1 day. In just 1 day, look at all this shadow that began to form where that spot was. And then by the third day, the whole yellow area is gone. Now it's just completely black. Look at that. To me, that's a pretty strong indicator of some sort of bacterial life or something like that going on. And if it was just one of these things, right, you could dismiss it. You could say, oh, yeah, it's just it's ice that's falling down the sand dune or whatever. But with so many of them, it adds up. It significantly adds up. If you want to find this, just Google fungi on Mars. That's all you got to do. Fungi on Mars. It should be the top hit. You'll find the PDF. That's how I found it today. Okay, here's some more examples. I thought this is a little bit weak, but they're trying to argue that some of these shadows could be bacterial growth as well, or some of the white spots could be bacterial growth. I didn't find this as compelling, but this right here is pretty compelling. I mean, look at this huge white spots right here. And then in the next photo right here, which is only a few days later, you can see now there's nothing there anymore. The white amorphous mass has disappeared from the underside of the lip compared with Sol 130. So this is 19 days later. You have this weird white spot here. 19 days later, it's just gone. Completely gone. Maybe it's just the reflection of the sun or something, but I don't see directional lighting on this. So there's another example. Here's more. Look at this. Look at all the white spots on this. 78 days later. Look how different these two are. So significantly different. What else? Here's some more examples. Let's see what else we got. Where's the row? Oh, this just goes on for days. Okay. Let's see what else we got. I want to go to the rover ones. Although this is also wild. I mean, that doesn't look like rocks to me. That looks like something's growing on the surface right there. Look at all this weird turquoise stuff. That's a false color, though, photo. It says, possible example of vast colonies of thousands of mushroom lichen-shaped specimens attached to rocks with thin stems. Oh, and then this is where they actually just looked at the path that the rover was on. This was super smart. This is super smart. The rover, it kicks up dirt when it drives around the surface of Mars. So they were like, oh, we should look at where it's kicking up the dirt. Because if there is bacteria, it might be just under the surface of the Earth. And look at how much this changes. On the left, Sol 1232. Obliteration of sphericals. And then on the right, 1319. So you can potentially see the, I think what they're saying is you can see the sphericals get annihilated when they run over them. Yeah. So when it runs over them, you don't see them anymore, supposedly. Okay. Let me see what else we got here. Okay. And then here, they look at the rover. Look at this huge black spot on the left side of this panel right here where my cursor is on the photo on the right. This is less than 100 days later, and now there's a giant growth on there. To me, this is definitely bacteria. That right there looks just like what you would imagine bacteria. If you leave something out in your house for several weeks, you're going to see stuff look just like this. Now, the only thing I would say on this one, when it comes to the rover, a lot of people said, Ashton, couldn't it be contamination from Earth? Yes. Yes, of course it could be contamination from Earth. Now, obviously, all the shit all over Mars can't be contamination from Earth. But this right here could be, for sure. This could be contamination from Earth. Rust? Not really likely, but maybe. Unlikely to be rust, just because of the pattern. The pattern here is consistent with what you would see from a microbiome bacteria. And then here's another photo of it right here. There you go. And then this here is another, this is a pretty good one. This one you might be able to argue it's like sand or something collecting. But if you look carefully along the lip of this, you can see a very dark line form here. And again, this looks like growth. This is the pattern you would expect for like bacterial growth along the edge of a surface, just like you see here on the right. On the left, you can see it's totally clean on the left here. There's nothing on there. And then on the right, now we see all this growth on there. Okay. And this here, this might be rust. This might be rust. So you can see here, this is what it looked like before, and then you can see the after. Like, wow. Look at all the damage to this thing. This one could be rust, in my opinion, for sure. Says possible fungal contamination or other biocorrosion of the interior. So there could be biocorrosion happening too, which might be why the rover might fall apart faster than if it was in a perfectly sterile environment. Let me see. Is there any others? Oh, yeah, this one. Oh, yeah, this is so good because they actually like circle it. So this was the same photo we looked at earlier. You can clearly tell now, like, what something's going on here. Like this middle rock is all of a sudden appears out of nowhere. This rock over here in the middle up here is now significantly bigger than it was before. And then we've got a few extra ones that weren't there at all before. So either some rocks got blown into perfect alignment while other rocks like changed out with a bigger rock somehow and other rocks stayed perfectly still, or there's some kind of growth going on here. This right here is, I should have made this the thumbnail because that's probably the strongest evidence. This doesn't require contamination or any other explanation. This is probably the hardest one. Oh, it was PJ Mike, right? PJ Mike. I want to shout out PJ Mike. I saw him in the chat earlier. Said he's been following for 2 years. Thank you very much. Okay, guys. I think that's good enough for that. Okay. So, in conclusion, is there life on Mars? Almost certainly. Apparently, they found microbial life last year. I didn't even know they could find microbial life. I didn't even think the rover had the tools on it to find it. But then out of nowhere, they just announced, oh, yeah, we found it last year. We sent it to a bunch of people. Nobody could come up with a good explanation, and we think it's like the best proof we have of microbial life. So the next step, in my opinion, is we should probably get this more attention. I mean, after the whole Charlie Kirk stuff dies down, after we find the killer, after we bring them to justice, we definitely need to bring more attention to this whole life on Mars situation because I want to see the evidence. Where's the evidence? Okay, what is it that you sent to the labs or whatever? I mean, is there going to be a scientific paper that's going to come out that's going to like tell us what it was that you saw that was so compelling? Because I imagine if it was that compelling, it's got to be really good evidence. So if that's the case, then put the paper out. Let us see it. Let us review it. I imagine it's going to get attacked. Just like the paper I just showed you. Whatever they come out with, you're going to have a million people going, these people don't know what science is. How could they not tell that was a balloon? Mars has got a balloon infestation, chat. And if you hit the balloon with a projectile, it breaks into a bunch of little balloons. And then they all fall into a perfect alignment. Like, that's what they're going to say. But you know what? We just be ready for it. And then just again, thank you guys so much for following and everything. Tomorrow, we are going to take a look at Hal Puthoff. We're going to get back on track. We're going to go back to 0 Point Energy. We're going to look at Hal Puthoff OG interview with Serious Disclosure, Dr. Greer's group. One of the first Hal Puthoff interviews that I ever saw. He is, in my opinion, the world's leading expert on 0 Point Energy. So that we can, if you're new to this, because a lot of people have now started to follow, or if you've been following for a while, it's a good rehash on why is it that Hal Puthoff is the GOAT? Why is he the OG Black Project engineer GOAT? Because you're going to find out this guy was talking about 0 Point Energy like back in the 90s, back in the early 2000s, when nobody else was talking about 0 Point Energy. And that's the reason why we know Hal Puthoff's right. And what I want you to do tomorrow, compare what you've learned. If you're an OG, if you're somebody who's been around for a couple of years, compare what you've learned from this movement to what Hal Puthoff is saying in the interview tomorrow. And watch how closely aligned it is. It's going to be scary. And if you're new, then you'll get a crash course in what is 0 Point Energy? Why is it significant? How does it allow us to manipulate space-time? How do we extract 0 Point Energy? So check it out tomorrow. Free Energy Friday. Hal Puthoff, 0 Point Energy. I hope you guys enjoyed the live stream tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed the life on Mars. And, you know, all prayers to Charlie Kirk's family. He had 2 children left behind. 2 children left behind that won't have a father anymore. So I want everybody to pray for his family. And pray that we somehow get past this and we grow as a civilization so that we can actually somehow reach a point where we can harness free energy, 0 Point Energy, without annihilating ourselves. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a great night. Peace out, everyone. Later. Whoa, I forgot. I did a few more super chats. Whoa, okay. Whoa, my bad, chat. Okay. Nick said, did Dave Rossi go underground? Yeah, he hasn't done much. He kind of did go underground a little bit. I have been messaging with him. So I'm going to try to get him back on the podcast. We'll get Dave Rossi back out here, guys. Adam, really high res clip. I don't know if those TR3B videos are real. That's why I'm really skeptical. They could be, though. They could be. The reality is we just don't need them. We don't need them. So that's why you don't see me post a lot of these videos that like could be AI or not, because it doesn't matter. We don't really need them. We've got the best evidence we get out of there. Bobby O, brother. Thank you, Bobby O. Huge shout out to Bobby O. Julio, thank you very much. Appreciate that donation. And then Mayo, he says, you basically just need mitochondria and light. See, you just need water and light. You might not even need water, but water and light, and you're going to find life. So we're going to find life everywhere. Timothy Foster. Damn, there's a lot of donations. Life on Mars. Orbs all of the mainstream media. Carry on. Thank you very much, Timothy Foster. And then War Ranch LLC. Thank you very much, brother. Appreciate you guys. Okay, now we're taking off. Have a great night, everybody. Later.
In the fields where the skies are wide, talking about a journey through the cosmic ride. Einstein and Thorne, they set the stage for a trip through time across the space age. Wormholes connect distant points in space, traversable paths to a far-off place. No black holes pull, no crushing weight, just a cosmic tunnel to a distant gate. Talking wormholes, stargates, negative energy, travel through the cosmos, it's our destiny. MH370, where did it go? Boeing 777 through a wormhole flow. We're talking wormholes, stargates, negative energy, travel through the cosmos, it's our destiny. MH370, where did it go? Boeing 777 through a wormhole flow. Exotic matter, negative energy's the key to stabilize the wormhole for you and me. Quantum vacuum squeezed so tight, creating conditions for this wondrous flight. Static fields and lasers in the lab they play, generating forces in a new kind of way. Gravitational squeezing, Casimir's force, negative zones we need to stay the course. Talking wormholes, stargates, negative energy, travel through the cosmos, it's our destiny. MH370, where did it go? Boeing 777 through a wormhole flow. Thin shell formalism plate so fine, spherical geometry we realign. Energy conditions that we must defy. For a stable wormhole, let's give it a try. Forces balancing the plates, creating the throat, open the gates, from Earth to the stars in a single bound, a shortcut through space profound. Engineers and dreamers hold the key to future worlds and what we could be. With science in hand, we forge ahead through the cosmic paths that we now tread. Talking wormholes, stargates, negative energy, travel through the cosmos, it's our destiny. MH370, where did it go? Boeing 777 through a wormhole flow. From the fields to the stars, we break the chains. Understanding the universe, we make the gains. Lil Hula Crunk shines, bringing truth to light. Through his music, we'll explore the night. With wormholes and stargates, our path is clear. Exploring the